So I went to my niece's birthday today and my little brother came up to me and said, "Luke, I heard YouTube is going away in 2020. Is that true?" Of course, I knew it wasn't, and I was about to explain COPPA to the best of my knowledge when he asked me if his favourite Funko Pop creator would be making videos anymore. And of course my heart sunk, because it's quite possible that creator will no longer be uploading come 2020 due to the new changes being made to YouTube because of COPPA. Now, I made a video recently talking about COPPA and how it will have a significant impact in its current form on a portion of the YouTube community. A couple of things have happened recently surrounding this topic, but one specifically caught my attention, and that's the Dead Upload Day. So let's talk about it. Now, Dead Upload Day is being called, it's pretty self-explanatory. This little infographic has been created and is currently making the rounds on Twitter, which say, "No uploads in protest for better COPPA regulations for content creators, viewers and kids alike." And looks to be taking place on the 26th of November, so just a couple of days away now. Now, I guess the idea with this protest is to force YouTube, the FTC and possibly the media to take notice of what's going on. I mean, ultimately, YouTube cannot make money without its creators because advertisers cannot advertise when there is no content. With that said, how effective is this really going to be? Now, YouTube has, billions and billions of creators and uploads each and every single day. Unless this protest can amass billions of people to stop uploading for one day, I'm just concerned that it's really going to have no effect whatsoever. Now, I have to admit, I'm all about, do what you got to do, take a stance. And that's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't do anything, nothing will ever change. But, small channels, they're not going to stop uploading for a day, which could impede their growth, especially if these small channels, these changes don't affect these small channels at all. And to be honest, these changes specifically will not affect the vast majority of people on YouTube. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the way this has been done, it could do with some changes. I think there needs to be more clarity over a lot of grey areas. And with that said, yesterday, we did get some good news about COPPA, which can be found in a community post from YouTube creators. And this is what it says. We've seen a lot of questions around what exactly is made for kids content, and if your content is directed towards children. Today, the FTC released more information to help YouTube creators decide if their content is made for kids or not. Here are some important pieces we wanted to highlight. What if children watch your video, but it's not meant to target kids? According to the FTC, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it. Now, that's very, very important. I think a lot of people have been misinformed about this whole COPPA thing, and they just assume that if any kid watches their stuff, that puts them in line to being made for kids and thus civil penalties. But that's not the case, and this has made that very, very clear, and I think that's very good news. Then it goes on to say, is animated content considered made for kids? Now, this is an important one. According to the FTC, just because your video has bright colours or animated characters doesn't mean you automatically covered by COPPA, made for kids. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognises there can be animated programme that appeals to everyone. Now, this is very, very important because there's a lot of animated channels that I've been watching about this who've been saying, look, I think my channel's going to go down in 2020. Now, these are channels where, yes, they do animated work, but actually the content or the context of their actual videos are very much adult-like. These are channels that swear a lot, or it could be channels that appeal to more than one audience. You could take a look at, for example, something like Minecraft, which is definitely a kids or can appeal to kids game. However, depending on how you actually make those videos could very much be directed towards adults or directed towards everyone. And I think it's important here, the use of language, because a lot of this comes down to, is it directed towards kids? Is it directed towards children under the age of 13? And as long as your videos are not directed to children, then I don't think we're going to have any issues. It goes on to say, here are some tips from the FTC. It might help to consider how others view your content and content similar to yours. Has your channel been reviewed on sites that evaluate content for kids? Is your channel or channels like yours mentioned in blogs for parents or young children, or in media articles about child-directed content? Have you surveyed your users, or is there ever empirical evidence about the age of your audience? So that's important to note as well, because if you're a content creator, you can go onto your channel and you can check what the age range of the children are that watch your channel. For example, for me, I think about 1% of my channel users, or people that watch my channel, are under the ages of 13. So, and my content and my videos generally are not for children. Now, if you're someone like Logan Paul or Jake Paul, or even someone like PewDiePie, who has the 9-year-old army, I suspect that the vast majority of people that watch their channel are going to be kids, or young adults, essentially. And, for them, there is that grey line where they probably wouldn't do a, hey, my whole channel is for kids, but they would certainly, for each individual video that they upload, they decide, is this one going to be for kids, or is this not one going to be for kids? And it depends on the content of the actual video. It goes on to say, be sure to read the full update on the FTC website. So again, I think this clarifies a bit. Do we need more? Yes, I think so, but I think this actually does clarify quite a lot for a lot of creators who have kind of been in that grey area between is it or isn't it. And when you're in that grey area, just to be on the safe side, you kind of just want to say your content is for kids, just so that you're not opened up to civil penalties. So I think this is a step in the right direction. It gives a little bit more clarity over exactly what a lot of content creators were asking. And I think a lot of people have been misinformed about the whole COPPA situation. Did YouTube mess up? Yeah, of course they did. They collected data on kids under the age of 13 when they shouldn't have, even though it specifically says when you want to make an account on YouTube, are you over the ages of 13? But I don't think it's about that. It's more about that. Essentially, if you watch YouTube, they've been gathering data on everyone, whether you are 13 or below. And actually, they marketed their actual channel to children. They were saying, this is the #1 website for children. So they kind of opened themselves up to this huge civil penalty that they got. But let's be honest, YouTube's interest is not to let content creators suffer. Without creators and thus advertisers, YouTube will cease to exist, which is why they created an algorithm to try, and I say try because we know how wrong that algorithm can be, but they did this to try and identify content that's made for kids. And that was to protect creators, and YouTube didn't have to make this. They absolutely could have just left it as is and just said, you know what, you carry on, guys, and if these civil penalties come, then that's your own fault. But they did this to try and protect those who may be affected by COPPA, because it is definitely in their best interest to do that. Now, overall, this video I was just talking about generally how, is this dead upload day? Is it going to work? No, it's not going to work, right? And we know that. But yes, I agree. Maybe there needs to be some protest around this. But we do know as well, if you go to the FTC website and look this up, we do know that the FTC are looking at the COPPA rules. They are looking to see whether they are outdated. We know they're outdated. I've seen videos of people who have said that they've interviewed. I think even the director of YouTube, Susan, I believe her name is, she interviewed people at the FTC who don't even have mobile phones. And these are the people that are creating these laws, people that are just light years away from where we currently are in respect of technology. So, yes, the FTC are looking at the rules and they are deciding whether they need to be changed. And I suspect in the next couple of weeks, things are going to change pretty quickly. Now, we do know that there's a lot more stuff coming out in the next 2 weeks from YouTube around this topic, and I suspect that come January, a lot of this is going to be cleared up. What I think happened is YouTube got fined, they put this stuff into place, and people watched a lot of videos, started getting misinformed. I got to admit, I got a little bit misinformed myself. Even my last video sounded a little bit misinformed, so I apologise for that. But people have been misinformed, they've jumped the gun, and they've made these videos, and people have got scared. Now, I'm not going to say that if you make kids content, you're okay, because you're not. Unfortunately, if you do make content for kids, and you know that, then yes, unfortunately, this is going to have a huge impact on you. Unfortunately, you are going to lose a lot of your revenue. Your channel growth is really going to go nowhere, because you essentially become... You just can't become found on YouTube. Your notifications go away. You're not searchable. You're not recommended. No comments on your videos. So yeah, unfortunately, it kind of is the end of kids content on YouTube. With that said, there is YouTube for kids, so that's where kids should be. So and we are kind of in this grey area where you also can't be too mature, because if you're too mature, then your stuff gets demonetized, because advertisers don't want to advertise on content that is too mature. So it's kind of trying to find that grey area, and that's where you got to sit. You got to sit in between, not for kids, but not too mature as well. But anyway, that's it for today's video. I just wanted to do kind of an update on my last video, and it's kind of all sparked from the conversation I had with my brother earlier on, and I kind of felt bad for him because I know that he's really not going to, there's going to be a lot of creators that he watches that are kind of going to go away in 2020, and I feel quite sad for him. Now, in many ways, for me, the way I see it is I don't have children, but if I did, I'd much rather my children see ads that were personalised to them, because instead of them just going onto YouTube and getting served ads of like gambling and drinking and whatever. Because at the end of the day, this isn't going to stop kids watching YouTube. Instead, kids are now going to be fed advertisements that are not appropriate for them. And that opens up another can of worms. So anyway, I'll finish it then. I'll stop rambling. Until the next one. Peace.